What's up, Internet? We are back with our N64 multi-cart, flash cart, mabob thingamajig that, oh dear lord, who am I kidding? We gotta play Quest 64. So here's a fun story. If I were to list all the games I hate in the world, Quest 64 would probably be my third most hated game out of all of them. And part of it is because of the situation surrounding it. See, in North America, Quest 64 was one of all of, at most, 4 RPGs we got. And that depends on if you count Hybrid Heaven as an RPG. And out of those 4, again, depending on how you count Hybrid Heaven, maybe 2 of them were okay. Like Paper Mario. Paper Mario's legit. Hybrid Heaven was okay. Then you got Quest 64 and Iden Chronicles, a game that wanted to be Quest 64. But the thing is, for the longest time, Quest 64 was kinda all we got. I like Hybrid Heaven. It's not a great game, but it's interesting. Now, fun story. Last night I was playing on my Pandora's box, and it actually had a version of this game. It was the PAL version, and they changed the main character's name for no discernible reason. Here it's Brian, and I can't remember what the PAL version is, but it's very, very fantasy sounding. But we're basically just a guy named Brian. His dad disappeared, and we gotta go deal with that nonsense. But like I said, this is one of the few RPGs the N64 got. I'm an RPG guy by trade. This is my favorite genre. And I had an N64. I never had a PlayStation, and I've said it once, I'll say it again, I lost that generation because I really should have gotten a PlayStation. And I regret that I have basically PlayStation illiteracy. I never had an original, and more than anything, I'd really like to explore the library, but it's so bloody expensive, and I can't exactly go and buy a multi-cart for that, as far as I know anyway. Maybe there is a PlayStation 1 multi-cart I'm not familiar with, but that would be impressive because there's no cartridge slot on a PlayStation. Either way, I'm kind of limited with this as being, for the longest time, the only RPG on the system we had to play, and it is really badly designed. Like, for one thing, this game requires a controller pack, which for a long time I didn't have. For another, there were points where you could get stuck in an area where you couldn't advance because you had to fight a boss, but you might not be prepared to fight the boss, but you couldn't go back and you couldn't sit around and grind. So you were literally stuck and had to start over. See this little bubble thing? This little bubble thing is effectively a level. We're going to collect that. Now we get to select an element. Now this is part of where this game goes real wrong. So you've got 4 choices, and you can pick whatever element you want to dump your points into, and that's great for character customization. It's terrible for how it was designed for this game, though, because while you have 4 options, you at most have 2. Red is fire, green is wind, blue is water, yellow is earth. Now the thing is, first of all, earth is OP. You should, when I say you only have like 2 choices, it's really just dump everything into earth, because every enemy in this game only has magic attacks, and earth has an ability that lets you negate all magic damage. So it makes you invincible. But the thing is, water has healing, so that could also be good. But the thing is, you might notice how they're on like opposite ends of a cross. And the opposite ends of those crosses actually negate stat boosts and abilities. So if I got water and then got fire, my water abilities would be weaker than before I got to fire. And my fire abilities would be weaker than presumably if I'd ever taken the water. And the thing is, you need the healing, or you should have the healing, and you absolutely need the rock invulnerability. So your decision has already been made. You're going with rock, and if you're lucky, water. And that's it. Earth also has like one of the most powerful magic spells, so there's no reason to use any other thing. Other things that make this game weird. Yeah, the quest for Brian is to look for his dad. His dad's just sitting in a room near the end of the game, and you can completely walk past him and never notice him. And the plot just kind of stops there. Like, you have to fight a final boss, and they kind of plot dump a point to the game at the end. But in between those 2 points, it's not really about anything. And you can completely skip the whole point because your dad looks like a chunk of the wall he's sitting next to. I'm not gonna lie, I hate this game, but part of me wants to show it off and like do a full Let's Play just because I want to show how shitty this game is. But then at the same time, I could be playing like Paper Mario, the one really objectively good RPG on the system that was released in North America anyway. In Japan, there was a metric shit ton of RPGs, and quite a few of them were quite good. I'm quite a fan of Robopon on the N64. If you're not familiar with Robopon, Robopon was a Game Boy RPG series that did the Pokemon thing where they'd release 2 versions. So when they released a console game, they actually emulated that, sort of, where your N64 cart would have 2 save files, and the first save file would be one character who had like one specialty, and the second one would be another character with another specialty. It wasn't a perfect system, but it was interesting. And I remember there being an extra power-up around here, but I can't find it. Also, I know you can go get some, like, healing bread. That's another great thing about this game. There's no economy, there's no money. Everything you need and want is given to you, but you can only store one of each. So if, outside of ones you find in chests, if someone gives you a bread, you can't have more than one at a time, so you can only heal once outside of using magic. Did I mention this game sucks? Had some decent music. Kinda. It got very repetitive, but it had some decent music. Also, if I recall, smacking your enemy with your staff is like the best way to do damage for a very long time. But at the same time, if you did that, it would actively weaken your magic abilities. Because this game kind of worked with like Final Fantasy II logic for its stat building. Like, if you want to increase your character's speed, you just actively run around the environment. And it builds very stupidly slow. But you can do it. Well, regaining your HP without items, it involves using nothing but water magic. But then you have to take away from building up your earth magic. So why would you bother? I think I do have magic right now. I don't... I have rock level 1. That missed. This was... If I give Quest any credit, it was interesting that it did base its magic spells and everything around physical placement of stuff. So, if you use your rock magic, which is throwing a rock at your opponents, you could ostensibly, like... You could ostensibly, like, sit there and throw a rock at it, but unless you actually judge the distance properly, you will miss. That's actually kind of cool. I hate this game. And I have no healing magic yet. Because I've dumped everything into... all one thing into earth magic, because that's sensible. I hate this game. But other than that, you're basically going from point to point, gathering 4 crystals of the elements. It's basically the plot to Final Fantasy 1, complete with the fact there wasn't a plot until the end of the game. You know, given the fact that Final Fantasy had such, like, non-existent plot for the entirety of it, it's comparatively surprising when you see how much plot was in other NES RPGs. Like, Chrysalis was all about the plot. Even Dragon Quest had a fair bit of plot to it. Then you had stuff like Radius Senki and Lagrange Point. Oh, man. Those games are great. Yes, I absolutely hate this game. This is probably the 3rd most hated game in the world. And I desperately need a physical copy just so I own a game with the letter Q in the title. I own 0 games with the letter Q. I don't have a full alphabetical collection yet. And the alternative would be to, like, get a copy of Quake 4 or something. But this game at least is personally important to me as much as I hate it. I remember for the longest time I was stuck on the second big boss of the game because I was trapped. I had to go to a forest to go kill him, but I kept dying in that fight, so I had to like go and grind, but I couldn't because the other side of the village was a cave that the monsters were also too powerful for me, so I was just sort of stuck. I need to find the bakery, get some bread to heal. White wings, they let you teleport. I know that for a fact. That's not what I need though, I need bread. Hey look, it's an inn. It's nice they don't charge you money for what it's worth. No. Yes, I want to exit without saving, thank you, but it is nice you healed me. We should probably try and find that bread just to... There's a day and night cycle for what it's worth, and the enemies do change. Credit where credit's due. That's actually kind of cool. Is there... Nope, there is seemingly no camera control. That's great. That's a good sign. You know, there's a Game Boy version of this game. And it's particularly weird because you can get multiple level ups in a fight. Mid-fight. But if you run before that, you actually lose all your levels that you gained. Even though you've earned them. Also, it will like reorient you in the fight. Which is actually something you gotta worry about here. Because you'll notice that your character kind of spins around when he jumps a little bit. Grab some rock, because it's the only one worth using. You really have to keep in mind where you're facing at the beginning and end of a fight, because it's really easy to get, like, turned around. I see one of the bubbles in the background. It is kind of nice that they let you render, like, the entire map that you're on in a fight. That's kind of cool. Although, really, all it's doing is rendering the enemies on top of it, but still. Like, I'm not saying everything about this game is the worst thing ever, but it's not far off from that. I missed. I do appreciate that you can actively attempt to dodge when your opponent attacks. That's kind of cool. But this game is just nothing but... Oh god, it's a hippopotamus. I think these guys will destroy us at this level. But we'll try and take a swing at them. Hey, we got rock level 2. It's a bigger rock. This will shock you, but we also get avalanche, which is a bunch of rocks. And the leveling up of the abilities is pretty much like that. Water is a water pillar, then a bigger water pillar, then many water pillars. Same with fireballs. I really don't want this guy to do that, although I can't avoid that, so that's good. But yeah, you can just get armor that gets you impervious to magic. But you'll notice enemies don't have a physical attack, and none of them do. They all just do magic. Very little about this game was well thought out. Like, there are a couple things I can maybe give it, but not much. But at the same time, I just want to show off everything that's inept about this game. Just because I feel like I've earned it having played this piece of crap for as many hours as I have across my lifetime. Oh crap, I remember these two being really tough to fight early on. But maybe my rock's strong enough now. Or maybe I just misremember. I know that the hippo was a problem. Also, the music for the boss fights, while it's not bad, it also is about maybe 7 seconds long before it loops. Alright, we found a path. Where does this go? Hey, it's our old friend Mr. Hyena. Or Hellhound. The fact that, you know, Nintendo let that slip is kind of impressive. For what it's worth. Level 6. I think we get the Earth armor at level 30. So it might be a little ways. But you can easily grind that by the first boss, if I recall. If you only focus on Earth. There's 7. A robber is about, and that's the guy who stole the first gem. So he's the first real boss of the game. And I've probably gone backwards the way I came. Oh, look, it's a pile of bones. Hey, Spirit Armor level 1. Defense up. I don't think that's the Rock Armor, though. I think Rock Armor is still a ways away. But this is Defense Boost. That's not bad. It's nice that you get a little bit of MP back when you bop the enemies. But, yeah, this... What I really hate about this game is not just the fact that it's massively incompetent, it is that, but it's the circumstance in which it's massively incompetent. Like, if this were on a system that had just a lot more RPGs, I wouldn't say it would be fine, but it would be less offensive to me. But because this was for the longest time all we got, you know, this physically hurts me. And I'm honestly a little PTSD about this game. But at the same time, I feel like I need to, like, just do a straight-up playthrough of this, just so I can finally put this game behind me and never think about it again. Woo! Alright. Now, I think there was another energy bubble around here. Somewhere. I remember being on this cliff. I'm sad that I have any memories of this game. The neat thing is you can escape fights, you just have to overlap your little movement octagon with the area octagon. In that sense, it's basically identical to Iden Chronicles, a game that desperately wants to be Quest 64. Which is a... Hey, we got some bread. Which means if we ever find the person who gives us bread, they won't give us bread because we already have some. Because that's just how this game be. Alright, well, I can't find the spirit bubble around here that I thought was around here, so I guess we'll just go into town. Oh, there's level 8. Do I get a new spell? I don't know. Game won't tell me. I want to point out, we're before the first boss, and we're already about a third of the way to getting the beat the game ability. Still so much of this game ahead of us. Assuming I ever actually play this all the way through. Oh, that's a terrifying thought. But one I probably should actually follow through with at some point. Okay, so I think what we got to do is go talk to the king of this area. Definitely showing off that expert's camera control. And I think there's a spirit bubble out here in the middle of the sand around here. I thought there was anyway. Yep, there it is. I'm really genuinely depressed I remember that. No new spells for us. People don't say anything of value from what I remember, so we can just kind of ignore all of them. Alright. So, there's the bar. This is the... We got yellow wings. They'll take us back here. Every town has a different set of wings. Again, we can only carry one of each. Not that you'd really need more than one of each, but the fact that you have to go back and talk to someone to get a new free set from every time you use it, that's a little awful. Awful's a good word for it. Okay, now I think we need to talk to the king guy to learn that the robber has the thing, even though I know the robber has the thing and that we're probably really poorly equipped for this. I think I saw when I first played this, because I got stuck on all the bosses because I decided to like spec myself out very broadly, which is, of course, as I've said, absolutely the last thing you should ever do in this game. Like, I remember this very early, like, web page that might have been, like, Nintendo branded or something. Just trying to read a walkthrough on this game just so I could understand what the hell this game was even about. Because I could not for the life of me figure out how to even get through, like, the most basic fights just because, you know, I was powering up abilities that were actively hobbling me. Look at all these chests I'm not allowed to interact with because they're filigree chests. It's a shame they're not real chests. I just want to see if I can find more spirit bubbles. I'm never going to find any spirit bubbles. There's all these nice rooms that are completely useless in this game. They're just here to take up space. Kind of reminds me a little of Opuna, which was doing it to try and like replicate real life. Like there's just rooms that aren't going to necessarily be necessary for anything, but it's there because it's realistic. Except that was a really good game. And this is Quest 64. Also, there's a door behind this that I'm not allowed to touch because I haven't defeated the robber yet. Let's see. Gotta get the orb from the thief. So let's go do that thing. I don't think we're going to actually get to that point. I think I'm going to die well before then, but I could try and take out the thief before we move on. On the bright side, after this, I don't have to play Quest 64 for this series again. Unfortunately, I'm worried about what I have to play after that, but oh god, we still haven't done Superman 64, have we? Although Rakuga Kids is on the way, I mean, I'm not going to be able to play it terribly well, but it'll at least be fun to watch for a little bit. I'm sad I have the imagery of the layout of this land burned into my memory as well as I do. Okay, so there's the forest. That's where we gotta go. I should have probably healed up at an inn, but actually it might be wise to try and bail from this fight and do that. Okay, new plan. Go back to town, go to an inn, just so that our spawn point can be reused if I ever am crazy enough to save this to my memory card. Oh god, that's a terrifying thought, and I'm probably going to do it. Oh. Okay, so let's find an inn before we try and take out the thief and evidently lose, because we're going to get smushed. Because the thief is, of course, the earth guy. So, of course, our spells are going to be less good against him. Oh, also this character who is ostensibly the main villain, but she's a friend, but she's not, but she is, but she's not. All that twist is only told to you at literally the last moment in the game. Oh god, I saved this to my memory card. Am I committing to playing more of this at some point? Oh, that's a scary thought. Alright. Well, let's see if we can get to the boss before we die. Either way, we're going to move on. at the death, but we'll see. Because I think I've been playing this for like half an hour at this point. Which is in and of itself a depressing thought. I don't want to fight more of these guys. I only have so many rocks I can hurl at enemies. And I think these guys have a slight resistance to rocks, so let's try and back out of this. Yep, gonna flee now. You'll notice that the game kind of turned me around there. That happens all the time in this game. Okay. Oh, there's a bubble. It's a frog knight. See, this frog knight's dumb. He uses wind magic. Which is an objectively wrong choice. Ow. Avoiding wind magic is a little tricky because it does auto home, but you're dead, so it doesn't matter much. Got a silver amulet. Got more rock. We got rolling rock. Nice. And I think there's a bubble either in or behind this house as well. Level 11. Alright. Bop. Got some shoes. Oh yes, this is the stat page where you can slowly build stuff up. So agility is built by running around. Just running around in the overworld. Defense is, I think, taking damage, as is HP, and MP is just using your magic. So it's basically Final Fantasy II rules, which is not typically considered a good thing. I respect Final Fantasy II for trying to do something different, although I admit freely it was not very well done. But this is very similar to... Oh god, I am not prepared to fight 3 people at once. 1 person, maybe. 3, no. You can absolutely run before their attack finishes, too, if you do get to that point. Because this game is well made. I don't want to fight 3 things at once, and that's clearly not a bat run. It'd be really nice to have camera control right about now. I'm not fighting all these things at once. I'm not doing it. Because I have way too much respect for my time. That's a freaky enemy design. I kind of like that. Merry and Nasty. I like that name. Why does everyone have wind magic around here? Fine. Eat a big rock. I like that even the auto-attacking system, when this is ostensibly like a active dodging system, random number bullshit, even when your attack should hit, can still miss. Because that means your gameplay is reliable. Woo! Fling. Come on, Merry and Nasty. Hurry up and die. Alright, come on. Seriously, that clobbered your face. There's no way you didn't get decapitated by that. That only took all my magic. Okay, so just running around will restore my MP. That's... If I wasn't, you know, in threat of getting murdered by random encounters, we could just sit here and, you know, run in circles. Fortunately, there's our MP back. I don't trust that I'm going to survive this fight, though. See, this is where my problem as a kid was. Like, you get overwhelmed by so many things all at once. Like, very rarely are fights ever really tuned to you. And, like, the actual like, balancing of the game is really bad. Because stuff is either way too high level for you or way too low. And that's not just because I'm running from everything. Like, just for whatever reason, encounters in this game are always tuned in properly. Like, and I don't think that's a localization thing. I think it was like that in every version of the game. It's just, for some reason, stuff was just really weirdly balanced in the sense that it wasn't really balanced. Still no experience for a level. Or at least not enough. It'd be nice if the game told you how much experience you got every fight you were in. I'm not fighting two things at once. Ow. Okay, yeah, that's actually really scary. I'm gonna just get out of here. And I hate to do it, but that's not the thing I need. That's not the thing I need. That's your elemental affinity chart. You can build stuff up to level 50. Nope. Nope. There it is. Okay. Increases defense 1.5 times. Can only be used in a fight, though. Gonna eat my bread. Because it's what I've got to work with. Unfortunately, I would have liked to have saved it for the boss fight, but we're gonna take a swing at this boss who's absolutely gonna clobber me. Also, you'll notice that this is a very small island. So if you've been relying on, you know, avoiding your opponents, like a sensible person who doesn't want to get hit, yeah, this area is going to say you're not allowed to do that. Alright, so let's go fight this guy. I'm just going to cry a whole bunch. Nope. Nope. Alright. 6 damage. Ow. The fact that he's doing double damage, what I'm doing to him, is concerning. Fortunately, I'm able to avoid his attacks, but I have no idea how much health he has. Ow. Okay. Take giant steps in battle. Double your range. Just gonna use defense up. And I don't really have any ability to do anything, so I'm just gonna have to avoid it and not get clobbered by you. That's rock damage. Because he's a rock guy. And we're dead. Bear in mind, had I not rushed him, there's not a lot of room to run around here. You're just kind of stuck in this environment, so you kind of just have to get more magic or invest in something that isn't rock, hoping that you'll, you know, do more damage. Have I mentioned this is a bad game yet? And that I hate it with a passion? It's not the worst game I've ever played. But it's up there. Okay, let's move on to the second game du jour. Oh my god, I spent half an hour on that. Okay. Racing simulation. Don't know what that could be. I guess we'll find out. Is it perhaps some sort of simulator of racing? It's by Ubisoft. Oh god, okay. So you can't see this, but it's in black and white, which means it's a PAL game. And it's not been tuned for this thing properly. So we're skipping that, I guess. Okay, so that was weird. I'm hoping my signal will pop back on in a minute, but I mean, I'm not currently seeing anything on my screen myself. That's not good. Uh-oh. Let's try something. Power off. Power on. Hopefully that'll do a thing. Alright, there we go. Okay, so racing simulation. That's basically unplayable. Well, I could play it, but being black and white, and you wouldn't be able to see it, and I don't want to. So next is Rainbow Six. It's a game about 6 different rainbows. But it also might be a shooter thing. I don't know how this is going to work on the N64. Again, this is a PAL game. It's currently in black and white, and you're not seeing it. So let's try resetting again. Are we going to get an image? Doesn't look like it. Okay. So we can... Currently, we've got 3 strikes against this playthrough because Quest is terrible. And, of course, those 2 games are not actually playable because those are PAL versions. On to the 4th game of the night, which is Rakuga Kids, which is actually a pretty solid game. I wonder if this is the PAL version, because there is one. Okay, well, we're seeing it in color, so I'm guessing not, and it's in Japanese, so I guess not. Okay, so this is Rakuga Kids. This is actually a game I really want to get physically. But it's basically a fighting game on the N64, themed around doodles. Now, it being a fighting game, I'm going to be terrible at this, but let's do free play, I guess. Because I have no save data. And we've got all these different characters that are all these doodles made by these people. Let's play the girl with a chicken for a head. So let's go to the sky hoop. And see what all this nonsense is about.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Ow. It seems like one of your abilities is like tied to one of the C buttons, which is a little weird. Oh. Quit it. Ow. It would help if I understood what my buttons did, but... Ow. There we go, I did a thing, and now I'm dead. Let's see if we can turn down the difficulty a little just so I can at least try to play this. This game actually runs really fast. It's surprisingly smooth for a N64 fighting game. Which is why I would probably say it's the best N64 fighting game. Hold on, I'm gonna... Key configuration? Okay, so... B, A, all the C buttons. Okay. Let's see if we can turn down the difficulty a little or something. Option mode. Handicap. Yes. Difficulty. I don't care. I need to at least be able to try and play this. Alright, let's try playing as a different character. We'll be the tank bear. I think shows up in a different fighting game as well. Like as a cameo. Oh, I think it might have been Soten. It might have shown up in Symphony of the Night as like a weird cameo thing.
Rumble!
Okay, well at least it's moving slightly better now. Might have set it a little too easy for me, but I mean, at least it's moving at a relatively sensible speed now. There we go. I think if you're going to get one fighting game on the N64, this is probably it. I mean, it's an import exclusive, but it's certainly the most interesting fighting game on the system. Although I will say that Sentai fighting game was not too bad. Spam all the C buttons. That's how we shall win this day. I did a 2-hit combo. That's one whole hit more than I've ever done. But really, this is more just a silly, absurdist fighting game, and that's pretty cool.
Time up. You win.
I should not have won anything ever, but I did. It's also the most stylish looking fighting game on the system. I guess it depends if you count Smash Brothers as a fighting game. I don't really, but some people probably do. Like, and I'm sure people are gonna go back to Smash Bros. Every time, but you know, if we're going with something a little different, I don't think you're gonna do better than Rakuga Kids. Even though I'm clearly not showing it off, but to be fair, fighting games are not exactly what I'm built for, as I've said numerous times. Silly little astronaut guy. Also, I don't know how I did that, but I just did a thing. That was kind of magical. I think that was R1, or the right shoulder button, I guess. Although my controller would be an R1, but both my R2 and L2 are the same button. Just in 2 locations for some reason. So this is a neat little game, and I think if you're into fighting games, it's worth an import. I think you definitely need a better controller than the N64 standard, but it's pretty cool. All the same. Let's try one more fight. Let's go bear tank. It's like a tank if it was a bear, because it was a bear tank. I think this is definitely one of the better imports we've gotten to play on this multi-cart too. This and like that Air Border game was quite good, and Fire Electric Stick. I think those 3 are kind of like the best imports we've gotten to play so far on this thing. Although I'm pretty sure Robopon 64 is on here, so we might get a chance to play that yet. Woo! It's just such a interesting, silly fighting game. It's not the first fighting game I've ever seen that has like a graffiti style. I know of 2 on the PlayStation that did that sort of. One a little bit more, or a little less overtly, but still. In the form of Slap Happy Rhythm Busters and good old Rakugaki Showtime, which was a Power Stone style game that actually featured good old Marina Light Years from Mischief Makers as a playable character. And that's actually how I know that game. That game was also featured as a reference in Achikochi. which is your obscure anime reference. Piece of information for the day. Also go watch Hachikochi. That's a great anime. Bear Slam. Sleepy Bear Tank is sleepy. But we won. Alright. Round 2. Eat the bizarre giant bear submarine trying to eat food. I don't think this game has like a proper dedicated grab button, which is a little weird. Unless it's like a hold A and B or something. Ah. Ah, and there goes my submarine friend. Bear tank. He's a tank and a bear tank. Bear tank. That's super jump. With your little chicken hat. I mean, I get that I'm bad at fighting games, but eat the lion submarine thing. This game is fun. Sleepy Bear Tank. Plus, we got a magic finish. Because we're just that magical. And then we just gave the sickest burn ever because we won. Like you do. Alright, and I think we have one more game to our name tonight. Let's see, we did Quest. Oh god, 2 things that didn't work. Rakuga Kids. Next is Rally Challenge 2000. It's U, which should mean it's the North American release. Should being the optimal team keyword there, though. Oh, I see. Oh, we do have color. I was worried that this was black and white, which of course means it's a PAL game, but it does seem to have color. So it looks like this might actually be something we can play. I've never heard of Europress before. But what is this game? Clearly it's a rally game. Let's try easy because it's 6:30 a.m. I do not care to actually put in too much effort if I can help it. Toyota Corolla, which is probably about as close to a Torino as we're actually going to get. Alright, fine. Australia. I'll go there, sure. Nope, no Rumble Pack. I said no Rumble Pack. Alright. I'm seeing no other racers here. That's concerning. Okay, so we have automatic transmission. Ah, we do have dash cam. Cool. Whoa. It's a bit slippy. So there are other racers that just get a head start on us. It's not like we're all sitting at a starting line together with a starting lineup. It's just these people have a head start on us. Alright, well, so far this is inoffensive. I mean, I'm not the biggest rally fan ever, but I mean, as I've stated numerous times, if I want a racing game, I tend to pick one that isn't on a course, but what am I supposed to do about caution? Be clear, navigator. Alright, we finished in 6th place. That's fine. That is totally okay. Okay, we got a replay. That's pretty cool. So do I continue in 6th and like ultimately across the... I'm supposed to get into 1st after going through all these different races? Because it didn't seem like no matter how well I drive, there was any chance I'd get 1st from that race. It seemed way too short. Oh, I gotta set... Every time you play this, you have to get into the camera position again if you want first person. That's... The fact that there's no memory of your camera position, that's such a basic thing. That I think missing out on that's a huge missed opportunity. And a very large faux pas. Drift. Alright. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. Just gonna cut you off. Don't worry about that. We're doing alright. We got this. No problem. Alright. Can't see where I'm going, but I'm not going to let that stop me. This isn't horrible. It's not the worst racing game I played on the N64. This is actually quite playable. But the N64 was a system with about 1,000,001 racing games that were mostly pretty subpar, but... So I wouldn't say this is a game that you absolutely need in your collection, but, you know, it's playable. It's not horribly offensive. I don't think it's a must-have by any means either, though. We're in Great Britain. Can we get 1st place? I guess we'll find out. Oh, it's foggy. Let's go. Okay, well, there's our first opponent. Just gonna drift around that corner. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, okay. That's fine. Made into 3rd. Okay. 2nd. Okay. Are we going to be able to make the sprint for 1st? There is the 1st place position driver. I have no idea how much further this race is. But if I can grab 1st, you better believe I'm going to do it. I will prove that I am the best rally driver. Oh, damn you. Beat me in the last few seconds. That's just classic life right there. What can you do, though? Well, we got credits. So that wasn't horrible. I wouldn't say it was great or something you absolutely need in your life, but, you know, if it was cheap, that might be worth something. Anyway, based on these past 5 games, would I recommend it? Well, Quest 64 is one of the games I hate more than anything else in this world. These 2 games are completely unplayable. Rakuga Kids is actually quite legit, but I am bad at fighting games. Rally Challenge is, at best, okay. Based on these past 5 games, would I recommend it? No, because the only really good thing here is Rakuga Kids, and it's not something I'm great with. But it is a pretty solid thing if you can get it on its own, but it is actually quite an expensive import. And Rally Challenge might be decent, and I don't know, if these 2 were actually playable, they might be kind of okay, but Quest makes these past 5 games unredeemable in any capacity. And I guess next is Rally Challenge. I'm not sure how legally distinct that is from the game we just played, but that'll be for next week. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, follow the stream to know we go live. We try and stream as often as possible. We might be back with some Skies of Arcadia tomorrow. We'll see. You might also want to check out and subscribe to my YouTube channel, see everything else I do, which is a lot of stuff. I just put out a review for Prism, the Dark Unicorn Chapter 1, A Fall of 1. You'll see why there's no Chapter 2 if you watch that. And if you really want to make my day, check out the show's PayPal or Patreon. Help support the show any way you can so that I can continue to do what I do to the best of my ability, which in this case is look at bizarre multi-carts that are really wildly inconsistent and just strange. And this crap needs documentation, damn it. And I mean, I get to talk about how much I hate Quest 64, so there's also some there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, Internet.